Today, we will be looking at Pluto transit into Aquarius. What does it mean and what to expect? Let's dive in. So this is going to be a very profound interpretations of this transit. We will look at the meaning of Aquarius, the meaning of Pluto, the history of Pluto in Aquarius, and I'll be sharing at the end some very concrete and precise interpretations and predictions of what to expect in the next 20 years. So yes, this is very long transit. This is a transit for 20 years, and I'll be talking more about it in time in the future. In this video, I'll be focusing on the collective interpretations, meaning the shared experience of this transit. So this may be one of the most important transits of our time. So make sure to stick till the end and watch the whole video so you get to the conclusion of what this interpretation means. Also, I want to add this before we start. Pluto will go back and forth, in and out, between Capricorn and Aquarius until the end of 2024. Those ingresses, those entries into a new sign, usually in astrology, are very, very, very intense. They make impact, they make noise. And we will have 3 entries of those Pluto coming into Aquarius. So I'm suspecting that one of them, or maybe even all the ingresses, will bring shocking, collective, disruptive news. Having said that, every Plutonic transit serves an evolutionary purpose. So the dates are, Pluto will enter Aquarius very soon on March 23rd. We are filming this video on March 19th. So in just a few days, Pluto will enter Aquarius. Then it will go back into Capricorn on June 12th. Then it makes its second ingress into Aquarius in January 2024. Then back into Capricorn in September 2024 to finally move into Aquarius in November 2024 to stay there for 20 years. So this time around, this year, Pluto in Aquarius is a sneak preview. We will have a taste of what that means for us. So let's first understand what Pluto is. Pluto's transit is usually feared, is commonly feared for a good reason. Because Pluto as an archetype, as a force, it deeply disrupts the themes of the sign that it is in. It triggers something we don't want to face. The unconscious materials, whether collectively or personally. Pluto, mythologically speaking, as you may know, is Hades, the god of the underworld, the lord of death. And no one wants to go to the underworld, But Pluto says, if you integrate this part of your psyche, because hell is not a physical place, but a psychological state, if you dare to integrate this part of your psyche, then you will be crowned at the epitome of your life, at the epitome of your soul's fulfillment. So here's something that most people miss about Pluto. Pluto is about power and wealth. But true wealth of Pluto is hidden underground. The best jewels are hidden there. So Pluto brings up to the surface that which we've hidden, we've dismissed, we've refused to address, that which is corrupted for us to see. Here, we are given collectively the opportunity to see, to face what plagues our society and decide what to do with it and inevitably change and adjust. So Pluto, in simple terms, is depth evolution. Though there is always a sense of a tragic loss with Pluto. But this loss isn't arbitrary. On one hand, it is the loss of that which is no longer in harmony with life's principle, that which is no longer life affirmative, that which is corrupted. On the other hand, it is the loss of that which is mortal, It is death. Because life renews itself. Life forms die for another life forms to be born. That's a very Plutonic process. So to understand Pluto, I want to look at Pluto's time of discovery. Pluto is a modern planet, And when a planet is discovered, we observe the collective themes of the time of that discovery, so as to unravel, so as to discover the archetypal meaning of this new planet or this new archetype. So Pluto was discovered in 1930. What was occurring back then? There was one major thing that happened at that time, and it has a very profound meaning. In 1932, the first successful splitting of the atom occurred. The neutron was discovered, leading to further research in nuclear fission, which is the splitting of the atom's nucleus, releasing immense amount of energy, ultimately leading to destruction, ultimately leading to the atomic bomb during World War II. Now let's stay with this for a moment, in order to grasp what Pluto is truly about. Pluto correlated at that time with the revelation, the revealing of this tiniest, the most hidden, the most obscured, unknown unit. And then there was a process of destruction to unleash immense power. So it takes what's hidden and out of sight, what's small, enlarges it, exposes it, then destroys it to unleash immense power. In other words, it takes our hidden collective unconscious, our unconscious materials, our shadows in union terms. It exposes the split among us. This is the split of the atom of unity. Then it exposes our darkness, our fear, our pain, taboos, defenses, coping mechanisms, our egoic power agendas. Exposes the extent to which we are willing to go to survive, even if it is at the expense of others or something else, be it environmental, personal, or social. It exposes what we do collectively to survive, disregarding the consequences. What we do collectively to hoard power. Pluto is about power. It exposes the corruption of power, the corruption in the integrity of our structures, which of course a very highly dramatic and intense and threatening process. And this happens in order to unleash different kind of power. Not a hunger for power, not an obsession with power, no, but a deep self-sustained empowerment. So this nuclear fission, the splitting of the unit, symbolizes the split in consciousness, becoming a threat to itself, becoming its own demise. Pluto correlates to an invisible force that can destroy on a mass scale, be it a virus or nuclear fission. In 2020, an invisible force, a virus, very Plutonic, happened during Pluto transit in Capricorn and the Pluto-Saturn conjunction in Capricorn, truly. And it disrupted on a mass scale, impacting all aspects of society. Symbolically, this is the engorging of our existential dread and the mass psychosis and the mass paranoia that come with it. All these Plutonic events are symbolic manifestation of something deep in the unconscious, what's hidden beneath our mask, and it is our existential dread, our existential crisis. So astrology invites us to decide the meaning of those manifestations. Astrology invites us to look beyond our initial defense against a threat or a challenge, You know, while we all want to survive a threat or a challenge, and of course there is nothing wrong with survivalism, you know, because life will always defend itself. But Pluto as a force is not concerned about our survival, but about the truth. And therefore, about a deeper force of evolution, a deeper force of renewal. So it's not concerned with maintaining our systems and our structures, you know, whether financial system, governmental system, social, gender, biological, but rather seeks to expose the corruption at the heart of all those things. And these are the themes of the recent Pluto's transit in Capricorn, which began in 2008 and will last until 2024. So as I said, we're not done yet. Pluto will go back and forth between Aquarius and Capricorn until the end of 2024. So let's look back at Pluto and Capricorn in the last 15 years so as to understand what Pluto does in a sign. And also to note some of the themes that we will eventually be done with. You know, when Pluto finally moves fully with no return, at least in our lifetime, into Aquarius. So what are the main events of a Pluto transit into Capricorn in the past 15 years? In Capricorn, Pluto exposed and challenged what's not in integrity in our systems. Capricorn is about the structures, the systems, the status quo, the authorities. It made its debut with the financial crash in 2008. And the birth of a cryptocurrency happened back then, the decentralization of currency. Then we saw the collapse of some cryptocurrency exchange companies. And since Pluto will keep going back and forth between Capricorn and Aquarius, we are still experiencing those themes. You know, with the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank. So notice that the financial system has been shaken deeply when Pluto first entered Capricorn and when it is leaving Capricorn. And this last degree of Capricorn will still be activated by Pluto until the end of 2024. So we expect more of that, more of financial disruption. Also, Pluto in Capricorn exposed the corruption in power, you know, because Capricorn is authority, is power. It challenged governmental systems. We had the Arab Springs that started in the early 2010s. The clash in the US politics, the vast division in the world. It exposed the corruption between the sexes, the Me Too movement. It exposed systemic racism, Black Lives Matter. There is a huge discussion and highlighting of the gender redefinition, meaning that Pluto is challenging how we define gender. COVID-19, with its dramatic events or its dramatic impact on the world, has revealed how we deal with death and exposed these rising suspicions and mistrust in authorities. Now, of course, I know those are highly controversial topics, you know, and I'm not going to go into them, you know, because it's not about our opinions. When we read astrology, we are going beyond that. We're reading the archetypal meanings of things. And of course, the recent ongoing tragic war on Ukraine, that's also very Plutonic. Astrologically, here what we need to understand. Pluto in Capricorn has shaken things up. Shaken the foundation, laying a new foundation for the upcoming Pluto in Aquarius of revolutionary change. All this shaking off of our structure of Capricorn is setting the stage for the revolutionary upcoming Pluto in Aquarius. Also, astrologically, it's important to understand this, that Capricorn and Aquarius are ruled by Saturn. However, there is a significant distinction between the two. You know, Capricorn, on one hand, is an earth sign, is earth. And Saturn ruling Capricorn represents its earth version of itself. It represents the structure, the status quo, everything that we have inherited. And what we have inherited is essential because generations don't start over. You know, every generation builds upon the foundation left by the elders. However, the foundation on which we build the new, which is Aquarius, is founded on exposing and destroying what's corrupted in the old. And that's the job of Pluto and Capricorn, setting the stage for the new revolution of Pluto and Aquarius. We said Capricorn is an earth sign, the earth version of Saturn, while Aquarius is the air version of Saturn, so to speak. Saturn being the classical ruler. Also in modern astrology, Uranus does also rule Aquarius, and Uranus is the disruptor of the status quo, the awakener. It is the modern ruler of Aquarius. So, what is Aquarius about? As we said, Aquarius is an air sign. You know, so think of air. Air is less confining than Earth, Capricorn. Air is free. Air is more spacious. Air connects. Air carries ideas, carries words, carries vision for the future. So Aquarius is the sign of revolution, of the new future, where Saturn sets the new structure. You know, when we have a revolution, we need to move into a new status quo. This is Saturn in Aquarius. And Aquarius is humanitarian as well. Aquarius is about the people. The symbol of Aquarius is a human figure, the water bearer, the bringer of knowledge to the people, to empower the people, to free the people. It gives the power back to the people through knowledge. In Aquarius, we re-envision a new world. We dream. We set the new status quo, the new laws, the new ways of being human. And to achieve this, we need the new rules, new forms of governance, new ways of connection, new social construct, new cultural construct, new gender constructs. All must be founded on the inherent right of freedom. Now, all sounds amazing because who doesn't like a nice revolution, you know? Yet, with Pluto passing in Aquarius, no revolution is without bloodshed, whether metaphorically or literally. No revolution without its darkness. There is no new without destroying what's rotten in the old. And revolutions are tricky because revolution can move us forward, of course, but also sometimes move us backward. And sometimes they linger sideways. As we keep reacting rather than re-envisioning, we meet the shadow of Aquarius. So having said that, what is the darkness in Aquarius, you know, that Pluto will reveal? What is the friction, in other words? What is the friction at the heart of Aquarius? Let's understand the essence of Aquarius. Aquarius is both about individuation, not individuation in the sense of like personal development or ego development, no. But the inherent freedom of being, the inherent freedom of the individual being itself. At the same time, Aquarius is about humanity. It's about the collective. It's about something beyond the individual. So you can see here the paradox. You know, so you can see here the friction at the heart of Aquarius. In Aquarius, it's not about the individual placed at the center of the universe. Yet it still encourages the authentic individuation of the person as a healthy unit that serves the well-being of the collective. Astrologically speaking, Aquarius is where the sun is in its detriment. What does this mean? You know, in astrology, we have debilities and dignities of a planet in the zodiacs and the signs. And the sun finds its home, its domicile in Leo. And Leo is the opposite of Aquarius, the polarity of Aquarius. And that means that when the sun is in Aquarius, it is in exile. It is in its detriment. Now, this has meaning. It means that in Aquarius, it is no longer about the I being at the center, like the sun being at the center of the solar system. And this is why when Pluto passes by Aquarius, we usually witness the collapse of powerful figures, the fall from power, the fall from grace. And we will give historical examples in a minute. So in Aquarius, it's about the decentralization of the self, of the unit. It's no longer about the nucleus. It's no longer about the sun, but about the sum, the whole. However, in Aquarius, this unification does not imply a dismissal of the individuation, as I said. It is, in fact, founded on the health and the freedom of the unit. It is by enhancing individual freedom that we are healthy and united. However, Pluto eventually in Aquarius will reveal the shadow side of this individuation. To be an individual is to create friction with others, a clash of conflicting interests, conflicting beliefs, conflicting ideologies. This phenomenon of a friction is very, very deep. It occurs on the molecular level. When molecules come into contact, moving against each other, they cause a friction, which generates heat, releasing energy, giving rise to life. This is needed for sustaining life. Pay attention to this analogy. This phenomena is needed to sustain life, but this comes at a price. Molecules lose part of themselves in this process. When molecules rub against each other, there is heat which breaks or weakens the molecule, leading to creation to new molecules and the destruction of the old ones. Life cannot happen without this phenomena. Meaning that during Pluto transit into Aquarius, we must learn to work with this friction and conflict. The individual freedom versus the collective, the whole. As we bump into each other's, we face this Plutonic destruction to eventually learn how to harmonically dance as we refine ourselves, our sense of self, as we refine our authentic expression in harmony with all life. And perhaps it takes several Plutonic processes of friction and shedding until the unit is so refined and so transparent, no longer corrupted with its power agenda, ready to extend itself beyond itself to serve something beyond itself, greater than itself, without compromising its authenticity. This is what Aquarius is about. Here, the war between molecules becomes an elegant dance, a delicate balance between the individual and its freedom and the cooperation with life. We learn how to cooperate with life as it inevitably regenerates itself. Now, additionally, Aquarius, we said it is an air sign it is also a fixed sign, meaning a fixed air sign. How do you fix air? By fixating ideas, beliefs, opinions, ideologies. And fixed ideas and beliefs breed immense division. Understand that Aquarius is a group thinking, Still a revolutionary thinking, because at its heart, it's about the freedom, the right for freedom, but a group thinking nonetheless. Then on the dark side of things, we fix ties with those who agree with us and cancel, demonize those who don't. All under the righteousness of Aquarius, fixed beliefs, where the other is no longer accepted. We already saw these themes highlighted in the recent few years, when Saturn was in Aquarius for the last 2.5 years. We already experience conservatism and liberalism pushing to both extremes, this clash, this division. Now, Pluto and Saturn are different, but still Saturn passing by Aquarius in the last 2.5 years has activated these Aquarian themes. During Pluto and Aquarius, these Aquarian themes will be stretched to extreme levels so as to invoke immense changes. It takes that we go extreme in order to go to the other side of it all. And Pluto is extreme because Pluto is, metaphorically speaking, but like literally speaking as well, is the last planet in our solar system. As far as we can go, as deep as we can go in the vast darkness in our solar system. So we expect recent trends, among others, to be taken to their extremes. People will reveal how divided we are and how we project our existential crisis onto the world rather than facing it head on. Pluto splits the atom, remember? Metaphorically speaking, exposing the devastating effect of separation. Also note that Aquarius, as we said, is air, and air is intellectual. This tells me that there will be a huge leap in science in the next 20 years. And I'm talking about breakthrough discoveries about the cosmos, about our genes, about perhaps other life forms. And with this leap, there is a sense of moving to a new paradigm. So we can expect this. And I'll be talking more about this at the end, but I want to mention this here. When we are in the domain of Aquarius, we expect that when there is a new ways of understanding ourselves and the universe, for those new ways to become too fixed, alienating all other ways of conceptualizing reality. So here again, we see fixed ties, fixed ideologies to exclude other ways of seeing things and understanding the universe, which naturally will create a pushback. So in Aquarius, we keep navigating this tension. Now, another aspect of this friction in Aquarius, as we said, about individuation. And Pluto is about obsession. So there will be obsession with individuation to the extent that we will see ourselves repeating the same phenomena of uniqueness and authenticity, that it starts all to resemble itself, defeating the notion of differentiation in the first place. And in my humble opinion, those who will stand out are the ones who will dare to include something beyond themselves. Because realness, authenticity, sovereignty in the Aquarian terms must stretch us beyond the boundaries of the self. Remember, Aquarius is a humanitarian sign. But here we may fall into the shadow of activism, of a growing righteousness, fixing beliefs, fixing ties, infused with the emotional coldness of Aquarius, of demonizing others, rejecting, alienating others. So this is another dark aspect of Aquarius, which is emotional coldness. Aquarius is a zodiac sign that finds itself on the middle of the winter. And signs take their meaning from the seasons. So in the middle of the winter, we endure harsh climate and a frigid atmosphere. It's cold. It's emotionally cold in Aquarius. However, in Aquarius, we still maintain hope. Remember, Aquarius is about vision, the future. We navigate the emotional coldness of winter with a hopeful eye that at the end of the winter, warmth and light will prevail. That one day, the day will be longer than the night, and light will win again. So in Aquarius, we maintain hope in a better future, despite the push and the pull, the friction that we may experience. A better future where we claim our free space in the universe that is no longer at the center, but a harmonious part of this tapestry of creation. We learn how to cooperate with all life. But Fida, are we going to be able to do that? Will we succeed? My answer is eventually yes. And the reason I'm optimistic is because during Pluto transit into Aquarius, Uranus, so this is an added information, Uranus will enter Gemini in 2025 and will start to form a trine to Pluto, which is very harmonious, meaning that we will participate more than resist. Also, Saturn and Neptune will move into Aries around 2026, and they will start forming a sextile to Pluto and to Uranus. So if you are more knowledgeable about astrology, notice that we have a Pluto in an air sign, Uranus in air sign, Aquarius and Gemini making a trine, harmonious angle, because air signs, they trine. And we have Saturn and Neptune in fire sign, and fire and air, they form sextiles. So this is forming a highly harmonious configuration. And we're talking about the collective planets, Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus, and the social planet, Saturn. So this is collectively highly impactful and harmonious. So I'm sensing that in 2025, but truly in 2026, we may be moving into some kind of a new paradigm. We may experience some kind of shock or awe that will shift us to a new way of being. Now, I'm not a big fan of huge prophecies, but if we look back at history, there were times when humanity just leaped, to an entirely new way of being because of perhaps certain discoveries or some kind of a new awareness, when what we fundamentally knew about ourselves shifted. It is possible that we are coming into something similar, 2026 onward. Also, I'm optimistic because of this. Because when we zoom out, when we're not stuck in one era in time, when we zoom out enough, we undoubtedly see that we swing backward and forward in terms of evolution. But ultimately, we always land into the more progressive, the kinder side of things. So I'm generally optimistic. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I am not shy nor afraid to highlight the dark sides of things. So optimism here is not naive optimism. It is, in fact, because of the willingness to face the dark aspects of ourselves and of our humanity that one can generate optimism and faith. When you are capable at looking into your own shadow and the intensity of being human, when you dare to face the existential crisis of being human, meaning our mortality truly, you are no longer afraid of yourself. And therefore, you are no longer afraid of life. You trust yourself, therefore you trust life. And this trust breeds optimism. It engenders faith in the inherent intelligence of life. So let's look back at history to see what Pluto in Aquarius was about when last was passing in Aquarius. And that was from 1777 until 1798. This period in time witnessed an era of immense changes, a new epoch, truly. During this epoch, humanity experienced revolutions of enormous proportions, which changed the face of humanity. The American Revolution that led to the founding of the Constitution of the United States Constitution, the establishment of a new system of government that was based on the principles of democracy, power to the people, Aquarius, protection of individual rights, separation of powers, separation of church and state. The French Revolution, abolishing the monarchy, the king, the nucleus, the sun, the absolute center of power, to give power back to the people, reverberating the beginning of democracy in Europe. Notice the Aquarian themes of this revolution: Pluto and Aquarius, abolishing a centralized power, the sun, the nucleus, giving power to the people. Based on a new awareness, understand why those things happens. Based on a new awareness, a new way of understanding who we are, understanding our place in the universe, understanding how things should be. A new vision. So we expect revolutions during Pluto and Aquarius. We expect the fall of people in power, changes in power. Also, third, the Industrial Revolution began during this time. Meaning we started to shift into the use of machine, eventually leading us to where we are today, technologically speaking. Fast communication, fast transportation, fast information, connecting the globe. Aquarius, air, connecting. It was the age of enlightenment, the dawn of a new era of scientific revolution that transformed fundamentally our understanding of ourselves and the world. Aquarius, air, intellectual. Notice that all these changes transformed lives irrevocably. There's no return with Pluto. So what to expect in the next 20 years? Globally, collectively, as the world becomes even more interconnected and information flows even more freely, there will be further globalization. But also, some aspects, some power centers, some decision-making processes that were previously centralized may become decentralized. So we might be coming into this, into some sort of globalization on one hand and decentralization of power on the other hand. This can mean that it is possible that we eventually experience division of power into more local units, perhaps local cities. I don't want to give here very concrete predictions because I don't know how this will transpire, but what I know is this. Aquarius asserts local identities, give power to the unit. At the same time, Aquarius unifies. And it's easier to understand how this unification can happen through access to information that connects the globe. However, I'm also suspecting there will be further divisions, further split of power, with huge tension and social unrest, at least for the next 2 years. So we can expect rising revolutions, social unrest to transform power. And fall from grace for some very, very powerful people. We can expect the discovery and the use of a completely new source of energy. that might impact the power dynamics in the world. Because as you may know, energy has been at the heart of political affiliations, deals, and even wars. So a drastic shift can occur economically and politically when we embrace a new source of energy, ultimately empowering the people. One more thing. And here, it's not my intention to alarm you, but it is possible that there will be collapse in currency, main currencies. There is a possibility, I'm not saying it's going to happen, and it's not like I don't want to alarm you because I want to sugarcoat it. No, but because from the bigger, wider perspective, I'm optimistic about this transit, optimistic eventually. Now, the most obvious things during Pluto in Aquarius is the furthering progress of artificial intelligence, which is already ruling the discussion, which is already happening. But of course, Pluto will take it to the extreme, resulting in some losses in some areas, and yet unimaginable enhancement and improvements in other areas. For instance, automation will cause a job loss, will change the job market. It might threaten art, creativity, authenticity. But from the other perspective, it will enhance what's possible to create, to achieve, to build. Also, there will be immense changes in our educational system with the rise of artificial intelligence, especially when Uranus moves into Gemini 2025-2026. Medical technological advancement will drastically improve people's life, health, and lifespan. So we can expect this. Generally speaking, there will be a huge leap. Artificial intelligence and technological advancement will take our life on this planet to the next level and might solve existentially threatening problems while we deal with its shadow, while we are invited to navigate the dark side of this. And all this will be occurring with the background of the rising mistrust in authorities and political tension and fear of change. Know that many of those themes will be met with immense resistance. Pluto is there. Pluto is in Aquarius. Pluto is not easy. But the changes with Pluto are inevitable. And they are lasting. There is no turning back with Pluto. Also, another thing, the gender discussion is taking a central stage. Aquarius symbol is a human figure, but it truly traditionally is an angelic figure that are usually angels, are usually seen as non-binary figures. It's no surprise that the gender discussion is very much alive, as Aquarius goes beyond even our biological construct. Having said that, as Pluto pushes towards progressive Aquarius, we will experience the pushback, the push against, meaning that we can definitely expect an immense growing in conservatism. We will experience more of the UFO phenomena, perhaps even alien disclosure, space travel that will challenge our assumption of our place in the universe. Again, the nucleus is a challenge. Understand what happens in Aquarius. The nucleus, the sun, the center is always challenged. So there might be a paradigm shift that will redefine our place in the universe where we are no longer the nucleus. Now, also, this might influence our relationship to nature. When we are no longer at the center of the world, this can invoke deeper ecological awareness and ecological solution as we grapple with real existential threats. So let's summarize it. Pluto's transit invites us to cooperate with the principle of evolution. Understand that Pluto is the depth of natural evolution. And we are not separate from this process. We are an active participant in it. And the key with Pluto is to cooperate and trust rather than resist, project, and be destroyed. It might mean embracing the globalization while claiming and allowing the freedom of the unit of the individual beyond biological, social, cultural, familial constructs. Unless, of course, it steps over the boundaries of others. Because no imagined social, cultural, gender construct will give us the freedom that we crave. We are invited to dare to go beyond what we think is fundamental to our being. If it can be taken away, it is not essential. So what's essential? Pluto will have the answer. And the right answer must unite us because we share the same essence beyond biological, cultural, ideological definitions. We may be invited to embrace the inevitable rapid advancement of artificial intelligence while navigating its looming shadow and the fear of our own creation. To know that artificial intelligence is only dangerous to the extent we are dangerous to ourselves. We must rethink our relationship to nature and our place in the universe to further remove ourselves from the center, meaning to move beyond purely personal agendas of power and to implement on a large scale environmental solutions and economical solutions. As no amount of hoarding money, aka capitalism, will provide clean air and water if it comes at the expense of the environment. We might be invited to embrace the decentralization of power financially, economically, and politically. And most importantly, we are invited to get in touch with our humanity, to extend our sense of self, to be in harmony with all that is living and breathing. For to be humane is a revolutionary act. But all this will come at a price. There will be grief, there will be loss with Pluto because Pluto is about death, the death of the old. So it's not a peaceful process. You know, as I said, we all want to survive. But Pluto is not about the surviving of the ephemeral. It's about preserving that which is essential to life. An Aquarius at its highest expression is a step above all those elements truly. You know, it's about witnessing. It's about the observer. Not a passive observer, but a wise one, a visionary one, a transpersonal observer, an active observer that carries the ability to no longer think in binary terms. So it's no longer me versus you, us versus them, male versus female, humans versus artificial intelligence, us versus nature, but a unity that thrives on the health of the individual and the God-given freedom of the individual in interconnection with everything else. It's about possessing the talent to see from outside the binary box, to bring a genius solution, a genius revolution. It's about possessing the courage to see ourselves beyond the boundaries of the skin that separates us and defines us. Now, allow me to end with this story. A few days ago, I was watching an interview segment on a Lebanese channel, an interview with a Lebanese man called Ali Safiuddin. Ali was one of the volunteers who went to Syria on a rescue mission after the devastating earthquake that hit Syria and Turkey. He and his team worked tirelessly to rescue the people trapped under the rubbles. He tells that the rescuer at times, they had to dig with their own fingernails, gently so as not to harm any person potentially being under the debris. On the fifth day, when hope started to fade away, He managed to save a young man and his mother who had miraculously survived more than 120 hours buried beneath the debris. But this is not the only story of Ali's heroism. In 2020, he also rescued a teenage girl who had been buried alive for 5 days following the catastrophic explosion in the port of Beirut. Ali also lost his own daughter during the 2006 attack of Israel on Beirut. Now, despite all this unimaginable tragedy and his unbelievable heroism, Ali sat there during the interview, absolutely refusing to be hailed as hero. Instead, he humbly deflected the credit to his team. He stood and bowed to the young man he saved for never losing hope, for surviving, for holding on to faith. He said, "I'm not a hero. I'm just a human being. And to be humane, to be in touch with one's humanity is an act of worship." He refused to be the sun. He refused to be at the center. Because it was never truly about him, nor about self-validation, but about his humanity, about humanity. That's the essence of Aquarius. Aquarius prepares us to the domain of Pisces, which is the domain of oneness, of kindness, of compassion, of God. In Aquarius, we learn to be humbled before the beating heart of life, all life, to create a future worthy of the children of the earth.